West Africa has always been a region where many people are on the move. However, for the past 20 years, worsening economic, climatic and social conditions have driven more and more children and young people to leave their families in search of a better future.
There are two types of movement. The first is from a rural to an urban area inside the same country. However, it can also apply to the whole of the West African region. Today, a large number of children leave their countries for this region.
Normally, the trend is to migrate from a dry region to a coastal zone, where the children think they will be able to find work in the fields and earn a living.
Children are migrating at a younger and younger age, but they don't have the wherewithal to deal with the numerous dangers and with the traffickers that lie in wait for them. This makes them extremely vulnerable, and measures to protect them have to be put in place. In 2005, at the behest of SSI, the International Social Service, and IDE, the International Institute for the Rights of the Child, countries from West Africa, in collaboration with various international organizations, decided to work together and use their resources to take charge of vulnerable children and young people who've been separated from their families. They set up the regional program known as PAO, the West Africa Program. This network acts as a crucial chain of intervention to ensure the protection of the child. It operates across borders with the aim of helping the child reintegrate back in his country of origin and consists of the following steps. Above all, the child must be identified as being in a precarious situation. He's taken to a safe place and his basic needs are looked after. He's listened to and counselled by a person receptive to his needs. As a result of the information given by the child, the West Africa Network starts to trace the family. If the socio-economic evaluation of the family is positive, the child is reintegrated. The child or young person benefits from reintegration, either back in school, through an apprenticeship, or directly into the world of work. At the same time, the families are supported so that their economic situation improves. A support structure is put in place to ensure that the child's reintegration is smooth and lasting. All through the process, the child is kept informed, his concerns are taken into consideration, and every decision concerning him is always taken with his consent. This film shows how children on the move between Mali and Burkina Faso are supported.
The WAN sets up very active lines of communication between the various stakeholders, and these are vital due to the high number of cases.
In an organization like this, communication is very important, especially for those who work with children and street children. These youngsters are constantly on the move, and if the communication channels between the stakeholders are not fluid, we will lose a lot. Working in a network, attending regional meetings and sharing information allows us to know exactly what has been done and what remains to be done for each child, so that we can do the maximum to meet his needs.
In order to strengthen communication between the different country members, the WAN Steering Committee meets every year.
It is the committee which brings together the national child protection directors from all member countries. Their role is to give a strategic direction to the program.
Their instructions are given to the WAN coordinators in each member country. In the field, these coordinators work with other stakeholders, partners in the program, to reintegrate child victims of trafficking or migration.
I'm Jibril Kone. I'm 18 and I live in Burkina Faso. I'm an apprentice car mechanic.
After failing several times at school, his parents sent him to Mali.
I went with my brother to an Islamic school in Mali. At school, we had to get up very early to study, and then we had to go and beg. I was badly treated, and I fled to Bamako. In the street, I was free. I could do my own thing. While at the Islamic school, I was a prisoner.
Les jeunes, quand ils évoluent en rue, ils créent un groupe, une famille. Ils ont des liens forts entre eux.
Young people who grow up in the street form a group, a family. They develop very strong bonds between them. In this environment, Jibril is more at ease as he feels free. The street is like a drug. It is not always easy to get a child off the streets.
On the streets, you feel good. Nobody bothers you. Your parents are not there to tell you what to do. You do what you want. You can buy all the food you want with the money you earn, and you don't realize that it's bad for you.
Like Jibril, Sophie has benefited from the program. Following family differences, she ran away from home. At 15, she was living on the streets, where she sold her body in exchange for food or a decent place to sleep.
I lived in a ghetto. On the street I was lost, but I didn't want to return to my parents. I preferred to stay on the street. When I didn't know where to sleep, I went to see the car park attendants. They allowed me to sleep in the car park in exchange for sexual favors.
Today, Sophie works as a street educator at the association Kyogo, coordinator of the West African network in Burkina Faso.
I'm proud of leaving the street and working here.
Jibril and Sophie are not isolated cases. Every day, children are found by the West African network.
Cette identification, elle se fait surtout à travers des tournées de rue. Vous voyez, c'est des ONG qui font.
Local NGOs mostly spot children as they go round the streets. When they identify a foreign child on their rounds, they refer them directly to the WAN network.
Sont directement référés au PAO.
Il y a un acteur important.
The police play a major role in identifying children.
C'est la police.
One day, myself and my group were raided by the police. The police asked if I was Malian. I said I was from Burkina Faso. They asked me if I wanted to go back. I said yes, and they put me in the care of Enda Mali.
The child is taken to a reception, counseling, and accommodation center where they get lodging, meals, health checkups, and psychosocial support.
When a child arrives at the center, the care team look after him. First of all, they go through an identification process, and he is encouraged to put his trust in them. And like this, they can be assured that he wants to stay put. The aim is to make a clean break between him and his life on the street.
In this way, each child is looked after by a street educator who's continuously receptive to his needs. Once the child is well integrated in the center, we offer him a range of activities, and he can choose the area that interests him.
Maintenant, les formations qui se font ici, nous avons l'école par exemple.
Returning to school is one of the options open to him. The street educator uses all his or her skill to make the child more aware. He explains to him the importance of his family, where he's come from, and where he's to go. During these talks, they explained to me about the importance of the family and the relationship between a father and a son. My street educator advised me to stop running away. The talk went well, and I agreed to go back to my family.
When a child comes to the center, we gather all the necessary information and make contact with the WAN in the child's country of origin. Once we have given them all this information, they start tracing the child's family back home.
Dans le cas précis de Suleiman, nous avons contacté l'association Tieki Abobo.
In the case of Suleiman, we contacted the TA Association, with whom we regularly work in tracing families. This association got in contact with the regional head of social action in Banfora, where Suleiman's parents live. We met his parents and assessed their family situation. This family assessment allows us to determine if the family is fit to take back the child and if it has the economic wherewithal to do so.
They told me that if the research was conclusive, they would take me back to my family. Thanks to God, they found my home and organized my return. As soon as the family has been located, a basic kit is prepared for the child. It includes trousers, shirts, shoes. He's then accompanied by a member of the care team who looks after him during the journey home.
Qui le prend en charge de Bamako jusque dans le pays où on doit le laisser.
I said goodbye to those whom I'd met, and I left a message for those who were not there. Everyone wished me a good trip home, and I went on my way.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Dans le cas des retours des enfants burkinabés identifiés dans un autre pays,
when a child from Burkina Faso is found in another country, the state acts as the guarantor, and his reception is always done at state authority level, and his return is also carried out at state level. In the case of Suleiman, the Malian side returned the child to the state of Burkina Faso, which then authorized the Burkina Faso WAN to return the child to his family. I am officially handing over Suleiman to you so that you can accompany him back to his family.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Okay. Comme il y a les enfants qui viennent en fait de différents pays,
as the children come from many different countries, there are a lot of administrative procedures to go through between the embassies and the ministries of foreign affairs. As a state body, our role is to facilitate this process.
Now that the child has been handed over on the official level, we are returning him to his family, to his parents.
My father had promised to build a shop for me. I stayed with him, but there was no shop. And then I had to do a string of little jobs. And when I came home in the evening, nobody had washed my dirty clothes. I had a real problem washing them myself. Today, I hope that my father keeps his promise. I'd like to build a shop and a house on my strip of land and live there in peace. When I returned home, I felt really joyful. My father showed me respect and we greeted each other, but I don't know what's going to happen now.
Quand on a eu l'entretien avec Suleiman, à un moment donné, il dit je suis content de revenir chez moi.
After the interview, Suleiman told us that he was happy to go back home and see his parents, but he was very worried about washing his clothes. As he is handicapped in one hand, how is he going to wash his clothes?
Les deux bras, parce que Suleiman est handicapé d'un bras. Je ne sais pas laver mes habits. Comment je fais? L'approche dans ce genre.
In this type of instance, we organize a family meeting, which is done both as a group activity and also on an individual level. This helps ease the child's integration back into his family, and this very personal intervention ensures we smooth out any practical problems.
Faciliter l'intégration de Solo dans sa famille, en essayant de discuter des problèmes qu'il y a avec les parents. Et l'animation individuelle, donc l'accompagnement individuel, répond aussi des problèmes précis et des problèmes pratiques. Dans tous les cas, le PAO sera là.
In any case, the WAN is there to support these children and ensure that the project is implemented.
À la mise en place du projet. Le cas de Djibril Koné, qui est réinséré aujourd'hui à Bobo-Dioulasso, est un cas.
The case of Djibril is interesting as it shows that West Africa program is extremely coherent and follows very clear procedures.
La première fois que Djibril est venu,
After Djibril returned the first time, two of them had not been followed. Firstly, family reintegration. It is not enough to just physically return the child to his family.
Mais il s'agit d'aller juste dans sa famille, échanger.
His family has to be a partner with whom we can have an exchange and identify the problems that need resolving so that there is a healthy family environment in which the child can develop.
Qui assainissent entre griffes l'environnement familial pour que l'enfant puisse bien évoluer.
This had not been well done.
La deuxième étape qui n'a pas été réalisée.
The second step is to reintegrate the child by giving him a clear direction in life. This did not happen, and Djibril went back to Mali.
My older brother forced me to take up a training course that I didn't like, and when I refused to attend, he hit me. And that's why I went back to Mali. When a child leaves like that, life is really difficult, as you have no idea about how he's coping.
I worried a lot, and sometimes that stopped me from sleeping at night.
Scarcely a month after his return, Djibril was back again on the street, but he very quickly missed his family. He got in contact with the care team at the NGO ENDA, the WAN coordinator in Mali, so that they could organize his return.
I told them I wanted to go on a training course. My father found me a course to work in a petrol station.
It gives me a great deal of pleasure to see a child who is in trouble in Mali return to his family in Burkina Faso. Our mission is to protect this child, and this is often done during the follow-up. We monitored him at work and were in regular contact with his boss to check that everything was going well. We reminded him that if he had the slightest concern, we were there to support him and to guide him.
Today I feel there has been a positive change between me and my parents. I'm well integrated in the workshop, and I'm making progress in my profession. If I'm serious about this training course, I could take care of myself in the future. And I could look after a wife and children. In the morning, he gets up and he runs to work. It's thanks to you and Mr. Sanu from the TA Association that today everything is going well for Jibril. I hope that it continues to go in this direction in the future.
Our biggest reward as street educators is seeing our work with a child bear fruit.
I tell children who are still living on the street to go back home. The street is not good for us. The street leads nowhere.